Chapter 1, Lesson 1. What is a plant? Last time we started talking about characteristics that all plants share. One of these characteristics that all plants are autotrophs. What do we mean by autotrophs? That they can make their own food. But what about animals? Animals are heterotrophs, that they cannot make their own food. Then we drew this on the notebook, the photosynthesis, because plants make food using a process called photosynthesis. The word equation, or the equation of photosynthesis, we should write this on your notebook. Then we started talking about a structure of plant cell. Here, the smallest building block of any plant is the plant cell, surrounded by cell wall. They look like small rooms or boxes under the microscope. Another picture for plant cells, surrounded by the thick cell wall. A question for you before we start talking about the structures of plant cells. Do all cells have cell walls? The answer is no. All cells, animal and plant cells, are surrounded by a thin layer of cell membrane. A cover of all cells. Animal cells are surrounded by cell membrane, and plant cells are surrounded by cell membrane, the inner one. But what about the thick one? Here, look. Plant cells have the thick one, which is the cell wall, the rigid one, but animal cells do not have a thick cell wall. So, plant and animal cells are surrounded by cell membrane, but a plant cell also has another layer, which is called a plant cell wall, a cell wall which is rigid, thick. Look at the picture here. Both plant and animal cells surrounded by cell membrane. Look, the dark one, cell membrane, the thin one. But where do we have a thick cell wall? Yes, only in plant cells. That's why plant cells are rigid, but animal cells are not. Let us look closely at an animal cell and at a plant cell. It is surrounded by the rigid, thick cell wall made of cellulose, the sugar cellulose. This gives it its rigidity and the shape and separates it from its environment. What about this? Look, yes, it's a vacuole. It looks like a sack filled with water, wastes, and food. This is for storage. When plants lose a lot of water from the vacuole, the plant looks like it wilts. When the plant absorbs a great amount of water, it swells and looks healthy. Look at the green structures. These green structures are called chloroplasts, and they are responsible for photosynthesis. They contain the green pigment chlorophyll. Look, each plant cell has many chloroplasts, the green structures. Chloroplasts contain the green pigment chlorophyll, which gives the plant its green color. Chlorophyll pigment is responsible for absorbing sunlight to make food in leaves. Now you can highlight the first page of the lesson. We said yesterday, right next to autotrophs, producers. This is the answer of the question, compare and contrast. It is really easy. What's the difference between plants now and plants here in the fossil? Long ago, plants that were fossilized, they did not experience air pollution. Open page 10. Plants. Some plants characteristics. Plants are multicellular. We mean the plant is made up of many cells. All plants are made up of many cells. Multicellulars, many cells. Group of cells organized together, it makes a plant tissue. Here we have group of plant cells together. They are called, in the onion, they are called onion tissue. Look at figure 1. Plant cells, different from animal cells. Cell walls make onions crunchy. How does having a cell wall affect plants' ability to grow tall? A question here. If the plant cells do not have cell walls to give them the rigidity and the shape, can they grow tall? Answer the question on your book. I have question 1. I need you to answer it. Almost all plants make or do not make their own food. This is easy. What is the function of the cell wall in a plant cell? And C, infer, what do you think happens to a plant cell if the plant is given too much water? What will happen to this vacuole? The vacuole, it will be able to absorb more water, or it will not be able to. This is the highlight. It means all the page. You have to highlight all the page actually. Everything here is important. Answers of the questions, they are really easy. I know you can answer them by yourself. I need you to highlight also next page, the first paragraph, the first line. The algae obtain water and other materials directly from the water around them. Algae, plants that are that live in oceans and seas. For sure, they can absorb water directly. They don't need a transportation system to transfer water upward. For plants to survive on land, they must have ways to obtain water and nutrients from the surrounding, and to support their bodies, to transport materials, and to reproduce. One adaptation to obtain water and nutrients is having roots. Look at these two plants, the saguaro cactus and acacia tree. The saguaro cactus roots, for sure this lives in the desert with limited water. Its roots spread out horizontally. So when it rains, this is written here on the caption of the picture, when it rains, it quickly absorbs water over a wide area. But acacia trees, it gets water from deep in the ground. So what do you think will be the shape of its root? It will be like this. It grows horizontally or it grows vertically? Okay, yes, it grows vertically to get water from deep in the ground. This is how it looks like. You can draw it and you answer the question. Open next page. Retaining water. One adaptation that helps the plant reduce water loss is a waxy waterproof layer called the cuticle. Look here. I need you to look at the picture. The picture of the leaf, figure 3, a waterproof leaf, a waxy cuticle of the leaf. Look, it looks shiny under light because a waxy layer covers it, and you may notice this on plant leaves. I will show you pictures to imagine this. Look, plant leaves are covered with a waxy layer called cuticle. This one, waxy, transparent, thin layer called cuticle. What do you think? If it is covered with a waxy layer, so this will help reduce water loss or increase water loss? Yes, it minimizes water loss. It decreases water loss. Look how water looks like droplets when we put it on the waxy leaf, the leaf with a waxy layer, the cuticle. Water does not spread, it just collects like droplets. So this is a trait or an adaptation that helps having roots is an adaptation that helps plants absorb water and nutrients. Adaptation is having a trait or a characteristic that helps living thing live in its environment. An adaptation is a trait or a characteristic that helps a living thing live in its environment. One adaptation, retaining water, how plants are adapted to retain water. One adaptation that helps a plant reduce water loss is a waxy waterproof layer called cuticle. What helps the support in plant? Cell walls and tissue strengthen and support the large bodies of these plants. So cell walls give support. But what about transporting materials? What will transport water from the roots upward in plants? These plants have tissue for transporting materials called vascular tissue. Vascular vessels. Does this remind you with blood vessels in your body? Vascular tissue is a system of tube-like structures inside a plant through which water, minerals, and food move. Look, this is a picture of sugar cane. Inside it here, you see with your eyes, if you hold before a piece of sugar cane, you find small tube-like structures, many tube-like structures. These are called vessels, vascular tissue, tube-like structures to transport materials inside the plant. Look, these tubes that going up and down, these are the vascular tissue, tube-like structures to transport materials in plants. Look, this is a cross section in the plant showing, this is a cross section here, a cut in the plant stem, and it shows the tube-like structures, the vascular tissue. Forget about the names here, we will take them later. Look at the vascular tissue, the tube-like structure. Look here, tubes to transport materials in plants. Okay, we are done of structures in plant cell and adaptations or structures that help plants survive, like on land, like a vascular tissue, like having cuticle, like having roots. You have a homework to read, apply it, and do question 1, 2, and 3. Next time we will discuss the apply it together and solve these questions in the next page. Thank you very much, grade 6.